Hello, hello, hello. Are we ready? Are you ready? Say hello in the chat. Let me know where you are watching from. And I'm just trying to get to Yvette. Hold on. Okay, there we go. All right. Hello, everybody. Alrighty. Welcome. I am nervous and excited to be doing this. This is the wake-up call. I have not done something like this ever. So thank you for being here and supporting me in trying something different and expanding right along with you. I felt like if I'm asking you to expand, then I need to do it too. So welcome everyone. Happy Friday afternoon. Friday evening, Friday morning, depending on where you are in the world. We have Angela from England, North Florida. We have Jeff from Sydney. So it's tomorrow. I think it's Saturday for you. Hello everyone, Colorado. We have from all over California, Florida, Seattle, Maryland, Woodstock, Ontario, Zurich, oh my gosh, Chicago, Michigan, Oregon, Denver, hello, Newfoundland, New Jersey, South Carolina, oh my goodness, okay. I have a lot that I want to do. I'm not actually sure we're going to get to it all. But anywho, this is being recorded. So if you have to jump off early, no worries. I will get you the recording some way, shape, or form next week. And let's go. So welcome to the wake-up call. For those that have never participated in a live event with me ever, just type me in the chat so I know that this is our very first time interacting with each other. So if we've never done anything, okay, so there's a couple of you. All right, yes, live, like full live, in the flesh, live. Maybe you've watched a replay or something or have listened to the podcast or whatever, but never sort of live in real time. So, oh my goodness. Well, I feel really honored that you are here and joining me. So thank you. All right. So I hope you have something to take notes with. I hope that you have a journal, a pen, a notebook. You're wearing comfortable clothes. You're sitting in a comfortable position. We're going to get started. I'm going to be very cognizant of my time. I have an agenda which I will go through with you. And this is going to be participation. I don't want to say required because maybe you need to keep this to yourself, and I respect that. So what I want you to do, just in case you do want to participate, is where it says host and panelist in the chat, just change it to everyone. Just change it to everyone so that when you do put something into the chat, everyone can see it. Because part of the magic of doing an event like this is the cumulative community effect, where it's not just me talking to you, it's us engaging in this very collaborative, very intentional conversation together. So please go ahead and change your chat setting from host and panelist. It should be in this like blue, where it says 2 and then you change it. It's a drop down. Change it to everyone so that everyone can communicate with each other. And Yvette is also here. She is on my team, and she will be supporting you in the chat as well. So I have the chat open. Okay, cool. So everybody is good. If you are just jumping on, welcome. Hello, we're going to get started. I have an agenda, and I'm going to start with my intention. So this is the live wake up call. This is an event that I have never done before. I've never done anything like this. I do this in my own life frequently, but I have never sort of done this publicly in this type of way before. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for being in collaboration with me this afternoon. So the intention today is for us to deliberately create the necessary evolution of what's next for you in your career, in your business, and in your life. I decided on a whim, like last week, to host this live event for two reasons. One, I needed it. I felt like stale. I don't know, just like this stale, bored kind of energy, restless and whatnot. And also because I was having a conversation with a client who has 30 years of experience, of clinical experience. And I asked her, I said, like, you've been doing this for 30 years. You're obviously very comfortable. You obviously, have really good results. Why? Like, why change the vehicle, right? Like, why at this point in your life, in your career, why pivot? Why do something new? Why change the vehicle? And the response was so pure and it was so clean. And it was because she knew that she could impact so many more people. And obviously, you all know that I am here to, help you establish and grow online. Like that's my job. Yeah. Like this is what we do at the Wellness Business Hub. And it's almost like it's a cover for what I really do. It's like when people say to me, what do you do? And I say, well, I have an online business and we work with practitioners and coaches to help them start and grow online. Except what I really do is I get people to use their business as a vehicle to create impact and abundance. Like that's what I do. That's what I've done. My business has served as the vehicle for me to have the most incredible amount of impact and opportunity that I could have never imagined in my life. And also this opportunity to have just so much abundance, money, wealth, time, freedom, whatever it is that abundance means to you. And so that's really what I do. Like the business is the vehicle. And the more of you that I can get this vehicle working in a way that completely aligns with what you want, I've done my job, right? I've done my job. And I think that most people don't think of the business as the vehicle. It's not the means to the end. It's not. It's the vehicle that gets you what you want. Stephanie is saying, yes, get people to use their business as a vehicle for abundance and impact. Yes, that's it. And so that's it. And so if I can shift that for you and I can help you to wake up to this fact, and if I can help you to embrace more of that, to embrace more of your desire, to embrace more of your identity, to embrace more. And understand that the business is the vehicle. I don't want to say just the vehicle because it's an important part, but it's the vehicle. It's the vehicle through which everything that you secretly desire gets created. You know, I'm not going to like sit here and pretend that it's not work. It is work, but you know, I created this wake up call because I can see that there's this shift happening with nurses and social workers and teachers and like a lot of these clinicians and a lot of these professionals, you know, maybe you are one of them, where the vehicle by which you are currently doing what you are doing in your life is no longer serving you. So type yes in the chat if that's true for you. The vehicle by which you are currently doing whatever it is that you do is no longer serving you. You feel bored, you feel restless, you just feel like you are not growing in a way that feels fulfilling, you're not challenged, whatever it is, that's the wake-up call, is that the vehicle by which you're currently doing what you're doing is no longer working. And there is no denying that the last 2 years have radically shifted everything and sped up what, in my opinion, needed to happen anyway, right? Where we now have this opportunity to create online that 2 years ago, people didn't even know what Zoom was, right? And they certainly weren't comfortable navigating their entire life on the internet, right? The majority of people, you know, didn't feel comfortable transacting online. And now, because of the last 2 years, we were forced to. So in that way, like, you know, gratitude, maybe that's the only grateful thing to come out of this, but still gratitude, where it really has opened the door for us. And part of that is this wake-up call. It's like, please just understand that this level of newness, this level of opportunity, this level of expansion is absolutely available to you. And the thing that is holding you back is your own identity. It's your own belief system. It is your own I wanted to say mediocrity, but that's not what I mean. It's your own, there's a word and it needs to come to me. Hold on. Comfort. It's comfort, right? It's comfort, complacency. Thank you, Yvette. Yes, thinking small, exactly. Normalcy, right? It's the comfort of what you know, and yet there's this contrast, there's this tension where you're comfortable and you're desiring more. You're comfortable and it's not good enough. You're comfortable and it's boring. You're comfortable and you know that you are not living up to the potential of what could be for you. You know this. That's why you feel stale. That's why you're bored. That's why you're antsy. That's why you're shiny object. You're looking for the right thing to sort of wake you up and break you out. Limiting beliefs, exactly. Fear, yes. Right? And that's the tension. The tension, the frustration, the annoyance, the irritability. Like, I'm going like this because it's like palpable, you know, like it's like this tension in the body, right? Where the comfort, the normalcy, the average, the mediocrity is okay, and exactly dissatisfaction, exactly. one of the most beautiful things that you can surrender to is that you can be grateful and also dissatisfied. You can be grateful for what you have. You can acknowledge that, you can acknowledge the privilege of what you have, and not but, and you can be supremely dissatisfied and want more. Those two things can absolutely coexist at the same time. Gratitude for what you have and complete and utter dissatisfaction, right? Dissatisfaction. I feel that every day. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm so grateful. I have this and I have all these beautiful things, and I'm so fucking dissatisfied with what I have. I want more. I want expansion. I want more impact. I want more. I want more. Right? And those two things can absolutely coexist. And so the intention for this wake-up call is for all of us to come together to see that, exactly that gratitude and dissatisfaction, they're not mutually exclusive. So it's for all of us to come together. And I want you to see the comments. I want you to see that you are not abnormal in this crowd. That, that you desiring more, you wanting more, you wanting to expand, you wanting to wake up and break out is actually quite normal in some circles, right? And to surround ourselves, even if it's just for 90 minutes, I am not interested in staying the same. I am not interested in complaining, I'm bored, I'm this, I'm sad, I want more, it's not happening, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not interested in complaining. This isn't working, that isn't working. I'm not interested in being average. I have no desire to fit in. I have no desire to be average. I have no desire to join the masses. I have no desire to even be comfortable. This is a wake-up call. You wanting to stay in your comfort zone is not going to help you. And I see that with so many. It's uncomfortable. I'm uncertain. Good. Change happens outside of certainty. Change happens outside of your comfort zone. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to do some work that I do a lot, and it is my deepest hope that you will, maybe for the very first time, you will allow the parts of yourself that you have suppressed, that have been dormant, to just bubble up to the surface and speak and claim space in your evolution. It's my hope that you will acknowledge the ways in which you have been fighting for your own limitations and really just swap them out and instead fight for your expansion. So instead of, I can't, and this is hard, and I'm overwhelmed, and yada, yada, and whatever, fight harder for you to break free. Switch it and say, I'm here to expand. I'm here to grow, and fight for that. Fight for your expansion versus your limitation. And so that is my intention for you. And to be this conduit for your wake-up call, for your evolution of your career and your business and your life. And so I also just want to preface what we're about to do by saying, like, this is an absolute safe space. There is no judgment here. Everything that you think and you feel and you believe is yours. It's yours. It's not mine. It's not the next person. It's yours. And you can take it or you can leave it. And so And so with that being said, we are gonna dive in, and I want to just talk a little bit very quickly about how I got here, and why I'm, I guess, doing this. So how I got here. It's funny. So I'm not just talking about like the money or the business, because, that's well and good, and I'm grateful. Sorry, I have something in my eye, and I'm grateful for it, of course. I know how I got here with that. Like that's almost easier to talk about. Like, I put Facebook ads and got leads and created a really good product, like, right? So I don't want to minimize that, but that's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about more is how I arrived at this identity and my current state of belief, and how I have been able to become so resilient, because quite honestly, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. I got here because in 2011, I decided to take radical responsibility for my own life, which meant to me that I had to start questioning everything. Like, why do I believe what I believe? Why am I doing this? Why do I feel scared? Why do I feel anxious? Like, questioning everything. I think for a lot of people, they just go along. They just go along with the status quo, and they go along with the mediocrity, and they go along with the complacency, and they go along and they belong to this cult of average. These, normal average people who complain, every Monday that they hate going to work, and then every Friday they get drunk because, it's Friday, and what do you do on Friday? You go for drinks and you celebrate because it's the weekend, and, and there's nothing wrong, I guess, with getting drunk on a Friday, but like, if it's because you hate your life, then yeah, there's something wrong with that, right? And so for me, I realized that it would feel isolating. I realized that I would feel lonely, and I had to get used to it really fast, because I didn't want to belong to the cult of average. I didn't want the kind of life that I saw everybody else living. I didn't want it. And so I decided that I was going to take radical responsibility for my own life and start to question everything. Everything. Why am I doing this? And why do I believe this? And do I have to do it this way? And can I do it this way? And am I doing it wrong? Or does it just feel like that because this is what I was taught? This is what I believe. These are cultural norms, yada, yada, yada. Type yes in the chat if you understand that questioning everything is a first step. Type yes. Questioning everything. Even what I'm saying, questioning everything is the first step to creating change, because what that means is you're starting to think for yourself. What that means is that you are now questioning what you were imposed, what you were taught, what you believe, and you are now able to deliberately create your own thoughts, your own beliefs, your own reality. You have to question everything. This is how I got here. You have to question everything. And so I started to learn, and I started to understand that because I was able to question things, that I am not my thoughts, that I could question a thought that I think. And that every single experience that I was having, even the most gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, excruciating, was in service to me in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't mean I had to be happy about it. I'm not happy all the time, right? It doesn't mean that some days I'm not fucking frustrated, because I am. I'm human. But I understand it differently than the average person, because I understand it from a viewpoint outside of myself. I can, most of the time, separate it and question it. Why am I frustrated? Why? Do I have to be frustrated? Do I have to be frustrated? Do I have to be overwhelmed? No? Oh, okay. Well, if I'm not overwhelmed and I'm not frustrated, what would I be then? Neutral? Right? And so it's this constant way of thinking where it's like, well, do I have to react this way? I can separate the experience sometimes. Sometimes it takes me longer to do it. I've been practicing this for 10 years. So like, I'm pretty good at processing through scenarios at this point. And how I got here also was I had to identify my own faith, and separate from any religion, because I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about faith. I'm talking about the belief, the understanding that I am supported, that I am connected, that I am in control and I can deliberately create my own experience. That level of faith that like has me on my knees to say, you know, this is, I am just the vessel. I am just the tool. I am like, use me how you see fit. Like that, the faith that it will turn out, no matter what it is, it will turn out for my best interest, for your best interest, without trying to control or domineer what that best interest may be. I had to surrender to the belief that again, like deliberate creation, right? Deliberate creation. And I think that's been the biggest key for me, is that it gets to be my way because that's how I want it to be, period. It gets to be my way because that's how I want it to be, period. The business, the career, the life, like it gets to be my way because that's how I want it to be. You get to build the business exactly how you want it to be because that's how you want it to be. You don't need to explain it. The way that I run my company, the way that I am, the responsibilities that I have, the way that I live my life, I do it very deliberately, very intentionally, because this is how I want it to be. Not because my mother told me, not because my next door neighbor said that this is how you have to be a mother. Once you start to question things, you start to question everything, and you're able to put these things into perspective to say, how do I want it to be? And then you go and you create it that way. And so for me, I don't profess to be perfect. I'm super emotional. I'm highly sensitive. I've had, a decade of stuff happen that I am working through still and healing through still and trying to just let it go so that I don't bring it into the next evolution. And I do feel, and I don't know if you feel this too, maybe you do. Probably that's why you're here. But like, there's this like cusp, I don't know. Like I feel for myself, in full transparency, like I'm closing some door right now. I'm closing some chapter, book, whatever, and I am becoming anew, I guess. So type yes in the chat if you feel that way. This is the wake-up call. This is your opportunity to just say, thank you, I'm done. Let's start fresh. I love that, right? I say that a lot. Thank you, I'm done with this. Let's start fresh. This no longer serves me, and I'm just going to leave it right here. I'm done. Thank you. I say that all the time. Universe, thank you. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm done. Thank you. Show it to me in a different way, but I'm done with this. I get it. Message received. I am done. Right? I am done. And so I guess that's sort of what sparked this wake-up call. And I know maybe some of this sounds a little woo-woo or whatever, but what we're going to do has really worked for me. I am the evidence, and I don't say that with ego. I really don't. I am the evidence that you get to deliberately create the life that you desire. In reality, I shouldn't be a single mom millionaire. I shouldn't. There's nothing on paper that would indicate I got fired from every job I've ever had. I have no business training. I have no financial training. I have no on paper skills that say that I could grow a business on the internet with a team of, 30 incredible humans with a business that has generated over $20 million since 2015. Like, I own a house, I own a car, like, it's because I made a decision. I made a decision that this is how it was going to go for me. I can't say it any simpler than that. I made a decision that this is how it was going to go for me. Did I, in 2011 think that this is how it would be? No. But I made a decision that I was going to declare radical responsibility over my life and create time and financial freedom. And this is how it turned out. And day by day, step by step, piece by piece, things started to crystallize because of the exercises that we are about to do together. So we are going to go into, I'm already super behind because sometimes things just come up and I need to say them out loud. So we're going to start with just actually taking a very deep breath and just make sure that you're sitting comfortably. So we're going to start with your deep desires. This is something that I do a lot. I play this game a lot. I play this game with Laura Wood probably once a week. I get on Zoom with her and I say, let's play my favorite game. If you could have anything that you desired, what would it be? Let's play this game. And so I do this with myself a lot. And I do it, I ask myself a question and then I write down the response. And most of the time, I can't even read my own response, but I internalize it and I can feel it. Right? And I can feel it. And so we're going to start with your deep desires. I have 5 statements that I'm going to say out loud. I'm going to repeat them a couple of times. And I'm going to say them in the first person. And here's your action. I'm going to say the statements in the first person. I want you in the first person to say them in your head. I want you to repeat after me when I say the statement, and I want you to immediately notice the thought that creeps up and the feeling in your body, and I want you to write it down immediately. Whatever it is, I don't want you to judge it. You're just noticing. That's all you're doing. You're just noticing. The minute I say the statement and you repeat it in your head, what is the first thought that comes to mind and what is the first feeling in your body? You're just noticing it. We're not judging ourselves. But this is really important because your current identity is likely blocking your future evolution. Mine was. My current identity right in this moment is blocking my future evolution. I have work to do. I know this. So, are you ready? Type yes in the chat if you have your pen and your paper and you are ready. Your only job is to repeat the statement I say and to notice the thought that creeps into your head, good, bad, or otherwise, the feeling that you have in your body, and you're just going to write it down. Okay, ready? Here we go. I'm going to say the 5 statements. Yvette's going to put them in the chat so that you can just take a couple of minutes. So, number 1. Ready? You're going to repeat it after me in your own head. I deserve to be a millionaire. I deserve to be a millionaire. Statement number 2. My greatness paves the way for others to step into their own greatness. My greatness paves the way for others to step into their own greatness. How does it feel to know that is, I believe that is true for you? How does it feel in your body? What's the first thought in your head that creeps in? Statement number 3. It is safe for me to evolve. It is safe for me to evolve. Yeah, you can totally comment too in the chat. I'm watching it. It's great. Okay. Statement number 4. I feel tears. Who's crying right now? These aren't my emotions, so whose are they? I feel like I could burst into tears. Statement number 4. Are you ready? This is a big one. I am capable of creating all that I desire. I am capable of creating all that I desire. And then the last one, I want you to really notice what comes up. I am allowed to want what I want just because I want it. I am allowed to want what I want just because I want it. Want, desire, same thing. Yep, Stephanie, same thing. So, in the spirit of vulnerability, when I said I deserve to be a millionaire, what was... Yeah, Christina. Yep, that's real. That's real. So when I said I deserve to be a millionaire, what was the first reaction? Damn straight. I love that. Yeah, disbelief that it will happen. Why? I felt like I had to justify why I deserved it. Oh, that's good. Skepticism and the word unbelievable. Yep. I'm scared to have that much money. Yep. Yes. Then my body went, oh, a little tense. Yep. My first reaction was, it's just a question of when, not if. Ooh, Josh, that's so good. Warmth. It's totally possible. Relief. Okay. How can that ever happen? Yeah. It felt so far from what you know now. Absolutely. I felt afraid because I felt like deserving to be a millionaire would be too many hours of work when I want more time with my family. Yep. Okay. So this is where you start to question, why do you believe that? Right? We have all of these beliefs, right? All of these beliefs. So we're going to do some more work around that at the end, but these are really good. You know, whether you were in, you know, like for example, Lori's answer, yes, I do. It's not just for someone else. Agreed, right? So we need to make sure that for those statements that I gave to you, and yes, they are very good mantras. I repeat them often. That, and many other statements that I could give to you, the intention for me was to help you identify where your identity needs some work. So for many years, when I realized that I could become a millionaire, I had to neutralize it in my body. I had to neutralize that discomfort, that question, that, like when I say it now, I don't feel anything. Like, even when I say I deserve to be a multi-millionaire, I deserve to have $10 million, it doesn't feel weird in my body. I've neutralized it because I say it so often to myself all the time, right? To neutralize them. Where there's no good or bad feeling, there's no feeling at all. Right? There's just, right? You were also the first millionaire who I also like as a person. Thank you. There are no good examples who I align with until you. Thank you. That's why I operate under the mantra, you can't model what you don't see. Because I agree. Yeah. The safe issue. Yes. So the idea is, and this is why I started with this, the idea is for you to understand where there's a discrepancy between what you say you want and the identity that you currently hold, and you can experience the contrast between what you say that you want and your current identity by the initial thought and feeling when you say certain things. So when I say to you, you know, I deserve to be a millionaire, or, you know, another one could be, you know, I am capable of creating all that I desire. And I saw somebody said, yes, but what if I don't have the energy, right? This is an identity. You identify. You're tired. You're burnt out. You're this. You're that, right? I identified for so long as, and this is something I'm working on, as like traumatized. Like I am. Anytime we say I am, it is an identity. I am tired. I am overwhelmed. I'm a single mom. I am a business coach. I'm a nutritionist. I'm a naturopath. I'm a health coach. It's a part of our identity. It's a part of our, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so stressed out. I'm so tired. I'm so burnt out. I'm so. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. Right? I'm successful. I'm successful. Yeah, I am. It's a part of your identity. And so there's this contrast. And so for me, right? And so for me, hold on, I'm reading. How strange. The safe thing didn't even trigger me. My greatness paves the way. That made me cry. I'm allowed to want what I want. Yeah. Because there's a part of your identity. Think about it. There's a part of your identity that was told that that's not true. There's a part of your belief system that does not believe that you are allowed to want what you want just because you want it. You're allowed to be stinking rich just because you want to be. Not because you want to heal the world, just because you want more fucking money. Period. You're allowed to want to have a Porsche just because you want it. Not because you earned it, because you want it. Right? For a lot of us, that is out of who our identity was crafted to be. And therefore, there's limiters that we, right? And to save elephants, yes, exactly, just because you do. Just because you do. And so, for me, one of the most important critical things that I've done is I've had to recraft my identity. And I've had to decide what I believe. I think we all grow up believing what we believe and not questioning it. And then there comes a point, hello, this is a wake-up call, right? Where we have a wake-up call and we're like, oh shit, do I actually believe that? Or was it just ingrained in me? Or is it just cultural? Or is it religious? Like, do I actually believe this? And so for me, part of taking radical responsibility, and one of the reasons that I'm sharing this with you, is because I had to decide and craft my belief system that was in complete alignment with the identity that would allow me to become a millionaire. Right? Because the things that I believed before, they weren't serving me. The identity that I had wasn't serving me, wasn't helping. Wasn't helping. Right? Emily saying, I feel like I need permission, and that realization makes me cringe. But it's okay. Like, have gratitude for the realization, because now you understand, at the very least, you have the awareness of your limiter. Right? If part of your identity and part of your belief and part of who you are needs permission, that is the limiter. And that is the work. So how do you move forward and eradicate that? Right? Yeah, this is feeling like, yes, permission. There you go. Yes, this is permission that you get to want what you want just because you want it. And I can say that a million times and it still might not be true for you until you start to put little steps in place that reinforce, that reinforce, that reinforce, that reinforce. And we'll talk about that in just a minute, right? So, number one, wake up call number one is, where is there a discrepancy between what you say and your current belief in your identity? Where is there a discrepancy? Because there is a discrepancy. There is. And it might not be for all the statements that I said, but absolutely at least one, I'm going to assume there was a discrepancy. Because you're all in my world because you want to be successful. You say you want to be successful. And myself included, there's always more we can do. And the reason that we're not is because of our identity and our beliefs, period. Because if our identity and our belief was that it's a skill and I can learn it, we would go and learn it without hesitation, without the overwhelm, without the stress, without the freaking out, without all of the stuff that's limiting us. Right? That's limiting us. Type a yes if you agree. There's a discrepancy. Okay. Cool. So now we're going to do a little bit of journaling and I'm going to give you some time. So before I give you the prompts, and again, this is what I do. I do this all the time. I usually do it every Sunday. I do it probably once a week. I dream up what I want. I focus on what I want. So when I give you the prompts, I want you to just release all the restriction. It doesn't matter if it's realistic or not. It doesn't matter. You're allowed to want what you want just because you want it. So I'm going to give you the prompts. And I want you to think about this in terms of what you want, what you desire, what you are going to deliberately create for in the next 12 to 24 months. I personally can't conceive past a year from now. I just have a very hard time conceiving, past the next 12 months. So I always am like, what do I want in the next week? What do I want in the next month? What do I want in the next year? You can put whatever time restriction you want around it, but we're talking sort of immediate. I'm not talking about like in 10 years from now because who knows, right? I'm talking about like immediate, something that you can deliberately create in present day. So we're going to start with, there's 4 areas: wealth, health, self, and impact. So I want you to, wealth, if that maybe you can write these: wealth, health, self, and impact. Pick one. Pick one. And just, we're going to go for 5 minutes. And I want you to just release whatever is being downloaded into you, whatever is coming to you, whatever you desire. It doesn't matter if it's realistic. It doesn't matter if you know how to do it. None of it matters. You're allowed to want what you want just because you want it. So I want you to pick one out of the 4: wealth, health, self, and impact. And I want you to just, what do you want? What do you want? Even if you don't know the how, it doesn't matter. I had no idea how I was going to create time freedom for myself or financial independence. I had no clue. None. It doesn't matter. Don't put restrictions around it. You're allowed to just want it. So I'm going to give 5 minutes. We're going to go until 4:25. So 5.5 minutes. We're going to go for 5 minutes, and I just want you to journal. You can do more than one if you want to. Whatever comes to you, just whatever you want. What do you want? What do you want? You get to want what you want because you want it. Okay, go. Okay. How was that? How was that for everybody? I want to just take a minute and take a deep breath. Yeah, hard but good. Refreshing. Yeah, good. Love it. Amazing. If you want to share some or all of what you wrote, go for it. I can see some of you did, which is amazing. Josh, I love yours. That's so good. Christine, yours are so great. So the next piece of this, yeah, it's amazing what you can, for sure, right, Nicolette? Yes, you pull out in 5 minutes of focused attention. Yep. So the keys to this for me have been asking questions and answering them. That's the keys for me. So, this wake up call is how do you create the necessary evolution for your career, for your business, and your life? It's by understanding the contrast of what you say that you want and the current belief and identity that you hold that is potentially blocking you, number one, so that you can remedy that, so that you can decide who you're going to be and decide the beliefs that you're going to believe and practice them. And it's also, about asking yourself specific questions so that you can deliberately create the next evolution. You have to know what you want in order to be able to create it. And it doesn't have to be, down to the most finite detail. It can be something as abstract as I'm going to create time and financial freedom for myself, right? And supremely focus on that. And so the next part of this, which I think is maybe more important, is defining it. So it's sort of hard for me to explain. You need to define what that looks like for you. So, for example, when I was journaling about self and relationships and things of that nature, and I said, okay, what is it that I want? And I wrote down that I want to be in an intimate and connected relationship with a man. And then I realized, well, what does that actually look like? What does being connected to a man actually feel and look like? What does impact look like for you? What does financial freedom and freedom for myself so that I can travel, where would you go? What does that look like? How often would you go? So, for me and for maybe some of you that had these sort of more abstract things, and you don't have to do this right now, but go back and actually define it. So like when I wrote, I want to be in an intimate relationship, I was like, fuck, what's intimacy? Like, what does it actually mean? What does it actually mean to me? How would that look to me? What would that feel like? What would that feel like for me? What would make me feel fulfilled? What would make me feel connected? Right? With wealth. What would make me feel safe? What is financial freedom? It's deliberate creation. For health, like what is healthy for me? Not just the standard, but like what is healthy? Right? What is healthy? Daphne's saying intimacy equals into me see. Yeah, it's something I heard the other day. Yes. But what does that even mean? What make and this is, this is maybe going a little bit like one step further, but anytime now I say this is what I want, I almost have to give examples. Like, what would that look like? What would that feel like? Right? Yeah, Joanna's saying wealth, more coming in than going out. What would you do with it if you had it? If you had more coming in, what would you do with it? What would you do with it? Christine is saying, lifting myself and lifestyle up without stepping on others. What does that look like? Give me an example of what that looks like. What would, tangibly speaking, what would lifting yourself and your lifestyle up without stepping on others, but rather lifting them up at the same time? Give me an example. What would that look like? Define it. What are some actual ways that you're going to do that? Are you going to spotlight other people? Are you going to share their work? Are you going to host an event? Like what? See what I mean? So we say these things and they sound really good. I want an intimate and connected relationship with a man. What the fuck does that even mean? Right? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? I'd use it to make more. For what reasons? What are you going to do with it? You're going to make more for what? Why? Right? If I had more coming in than out, then I would pay my bills and help my mom. Yes. And okay, if you stopped working, what would you do? What would you do all day? Do you see where I'm going with this? Deliberate creation. What would you do all day if you didn't have to work? Right? Eat 100% organic at home. Yes. So now we can visualize it. Now we have something that lights you up, that gets you excited, that if you use the business as the vehicle to deliberately create your life, we need to understand the motivation so that you can crystallize it. Because this is the part that's important. You know, you don't want to go off in the wrong direction. And you get to want what you want because you want it, and it helps you make decisions. When you are able to define what you want instead of just, I think part of my issue was that it was like time freedom. What does it actually look like? I had to put some standards around it. Right? I had to put some standards around it because then the reality is that you have to actually take the actions. You can't just sit there and manifest it. It's not going up on a vision board and like expecting it to happen. You don't just slap something on your wall and like it materializes. That's not how this works. So whatever it is that you wrote down, I want you to sit and ruminate on it. I want you to sit and think about it. I want you to ask yourself, what does this look like in practice? Right? What can I define this better? Can I give some examples around it? Yes, Josh is saying the clearer we are on why we want it, and the more we can visualize and taste it, exactly, the more driven you are. Yes. And the more real it feels. So when we say, I want time freedom, that doesn't feel real. But define it, right? Define it. When we say, 3 days a week, I'm going to end at 3:00. Now you can ask the question, how do I make that happen? This is my whole life. Here's what I want. I've defined it. How do I make that happen? Next question. If it were simple, what would it look like? If it were simple, what would it look like? How do I make it happen? If it were simple, what would it look like? Write those down. How do I make this happen? But in order to make what happen, you have to know. You might not know how to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, if you don't know the how, this is where you go and invest. You invest in skills, you invest in mentorship, you invest in coaching, because there's always someone who's already made it happen, and you go and you pay them. You go and you pay them. And I know that sounds ridiculous maybe, but honestly, you go and you pay them to show you how to do it because it can happen. And the only reason that it won't happen is because you have an identity that it's not worth paying, or you have a belief that you shouldn't pay, or whatever concoction is going on in your head. That's it. That's it. You want something, 100%. There's already somebody else out there who've achieved exactly whatever it is that you want, and there is an access way to get there. Right? Catherine saying, my favorite example of this came from a training last year. It's like going to an Italian restaurant and saying, I'll have the pasta. Yeah, exactly. Which one? That actually happened a couple of weeks ago. I took my best friend's daughter out for her birthday, and she literally told the server she'll have spaghetti. We were at an Italian restaurant, and the server just looked at her and was like, which one? She was like, I don't know, the one with the red sauce. Which one? Right? She couldn't bring her nothing. So imagine that's actually really good. Think about it that way. You're at an Italian restaurant, or you go to a Japanese restaurant. I have sushi. I'll have sushi. You're going to get nothing. Right? Because you have to specifically order what it is that you want off the menu in order for them to create it and bring it to you. And that's the thing. If you don't know what it is that you want, you're never going to get it. You're never going to get it. You're never going to get it. It doesn't mean that you have to know how to get it. You just have to know what it is that you want. There's a difference. There's a difference between knowing what you want and knowing how to get it. The how is accessible and available to you always. Do you believe that? Type yes or no in the chat. Do you believe that the how is available to you? It's accessible to you. You might have a block around accessing it, but that doesn't mean that it's not accessible to you. That's a huge shift. I'm going to say it again because maybe you didn't hear me. It is accessible to you. Just because you might have a block around how to access it doesn't mean that it's not available or accessible. You might have a block stopping you from seeing it or stopping you from accessing it, your identity or your belief. But that doesn't mean that it's not available. It is available to you. It is 100% available to you. There's just something blocking you, and that's the work. That's the work. And once I realized that, my answer always was, who can I pay? Always. How can I throw money at this? Who can I pay? Because I understand that it exists. I don't have either access. I don't know who it is. Like, what is the vehicle by which I'm going to get this? Because it's available, it's accessible. There's always somebody else who's created it. Right? Oh, that was the wake-up moment? Yes. So good. Literally. Oh, I want this. I don't know how to get it. Cool. Who can I pay to teach me? Who can I pay to show me? What book? What course? It's always available. You just are not in a place yet to access it because of the belief. Yes, exactly. That's why you go to Meredith. Yes. Okay. So there's 4 questions, and I didn't make this up. It's the work of Byron Katie. I'll actually put it in the chat. You can literally Google it. It's the work of Byron Katie. I'm going to ask you, this is how I shifted my identity. And actually, yeah, Yvette, if you want to put the 4 questions in the chat, that would be awesome. This is it, y'all. This is it. So you have an identity. You have your desires. There's contrast. Your identity, your beliefs is blocking you. And the questions are, is it true? Is it true? Is it true that you can't become a millionaire? Can you absolutely know that that's true? How do you react when you believe that thought? I can't become a millionaire because. And who would you be without that thought? Who would you be without the anxiety? Who would you be without the burnout? Who would you be without the limiting beliefs? Who would you be without all of the blocks that you have? Who would you be? Yeah. My favorite question of all time. Is that true? Is that true? How do you know that that's true? How do you know? Is there evidence, or is it a belief that you believe? Because if it's just a thought that you think, then it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. It's just a thought that you think. And guess what? We can change our thoughts that we think. We can change our beliefs. That changed everything for me. Everything. Is it true? Is it true that I can't, whatever? Is it true? How do I know that it's true? I don't know. Unless there's like hard evidence. And most of the time, there's not. There's not hard evidence. It's just a belief. It's part of my identity that makes me feel uncomfortable. Because if it was true, then that either means I'm not living up to my own potential, I'm playing small, and I'm fighting for my limitations. So what I want you to do now is I want you to go back to what you journaled. I want you to go back to the thoughts and the feelings that crept up when I said the statements, and I want you to apply the question, is it true? Is it true? And who would you be without that thought? Who would you be? So I want you to write it down. Who would you be? Yeah, you'd be a TED Talk. So why aren't you? And listen, I'm sitting here too, being like, there's so much more of my potential that I'm not executing because of fear, because of a belief, because I have an identity. Like, I'm sitting here with you. I'm not pointing fingers, believe me. So if you say you would be I would be doing so much more, what is so much more? What is that? What is so much more? Yeah. So Charlotte's saying powerful, confident change maker. Yeah. So what does that look like? What does that look like for you to be powerful, for real? What does that look like? Write it down. For you to show up in a way that helps you to feel powerful, what does that actually look like? What does that sound like? What thoughts do you think? If you decide that your identity is that of a change maker, from this moment onward, you are someone who creates change for others. What thoughts do you think on the regular? What does that look like? What behaviors do you do every day? What is the business, the career that you have? What is the vehicle by which you create change? This is a good question. Danielle's asking, how do you keep going when you need a tangible result to prove that you will get clients? Do you just keep working and challenging your limiting beliefs until it happens? So here's the thing. You can go and get a paying client right now. Right now. Why don't you believe that you can? You can go and put on your personal page right now that you have 3 spots open for hour-long consults and first come, first serve. Charge $50. You can go and get a paying client right now. There's nothing stopping you. You have knowledge in your head. You don't need anything set up. Why do you believe that you can't get clients? That's the question. Why do you need a tangible result? Why don't you believe that you're going to be able to get clients? That's the question. Right? Like, this is what I'm saying. You need to believe in yourself, but why don't you? Start questioning why you don't. Why don't I believe in myself? Really, sit with that. Why don't you believe in yourself? Where did that even come from? Right? Yeah, I'm playing small so someone else can feel big. Again, yuck. I get it. Listen, like, deliberate creation isn't always fun. And sometimes it comes with sacrifice and loss. And the upside is that it's so freeing. It's so freeing. So these are really interesting comments, right? So I need to tell myself I am capable. So, okay. So let's examine this for a second, because this is like, we're here. This is the wake-up call. So what would it look like for you every day to build capability? What does that look like? I need to prove that I am capable. How? What does that mean? Right? This is what I'm saying, y'all. Start questioning these fucking thoughts you think, because you're spewing them out. And I'm like, really? So where's the finish line then? At what point are you going to believe that you're capable? After you get your first client, your second client, your third client? Like, at what point? Right? So what does it mean for you to be capable? Define it. What actions every day, what actions will you take that you then reinforce to yourself that you are capable? Define it for yourself so that you can be like, oh, I was capable today. Cool. And you reinforce it. Oh, today I experienced connection. What does that look like? Oh, today I had intimacy. What does that look like? Deliberate creation. Right? Rachel saying, I think I need to be perfect in what I launch, and it is literally insane to think that, not to mention it holds me back. Yep. I've won singing competitions over thousands, and somehow I still don't feel confident to perform. I have zero understanding of that reality. So what would you be without that thought? Who would you be without that thought? That thought that you don't feel confident to perform. Like, who would you be? Because here's the thing, and this is what my sort of teachers taught me, is you can just decide to start fresh. You can just decide that you are no longer entertaining this whole woe is me, I don't feel confident scenario. You can just decide that that's not who you are anymore. You don't have to be that person, because for some reason, you maintaining that belief is reinforcing something for someone else, probably. Right? You don't have to play that game anymore. Who would you be without that thought? Is it true? Is it true that you're not confident? Is it true? All of the, who would you be without that thought? How do you know that that's true? Yes, you can cite me, no problem. Kalani, this is good. There is no one way to prove our own dreams or our own desires to anyone. They are ours alone. So the belief needs to shift to knowing what we want and desire and move in that direction. Yes. You can just decide. And like, that was such an aha for me when she said that to me. She's like, this whole trauma, single mom shtick you got going on. It's really working for you, hey? And I was like, no, it's not. She's like, then just fucking give it up. Like, just stop. Stop identifying as this. Stop identifying as that. You can just change the story. And I was like, oh, like I don't have to like, she's like, no, you can just close the book, change the story. Oh, it's that simple. It is. It is that simple. It is. It is that simple. And I was like, oh, I don't have to like carry this around with me anymore. And she was like, no, if it's not working for you, drop it. Oh, okay. Interesting. Right? Just drop it. Oh, I can just drop it. Cool. I can just decide that I'm done. I am done with this portion of the program. Rachel, that's good. You can change the story, but how do you get other people to stop perpetuating the rhetoric about who you are not? By being different. By being different. I don't have those kinds of conversations anymore. I don't even entertain them. I don't talk about it with others. I just do my thing. Again, that the reason there's a reinforcement, we continue the patterns because there's some payoff at the end, whether that's you not wanting to outshine somebody or not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings or not wanting to disrupt or whatever. There's always a payoff, good or bad. There's always a payoff, right? Yeah, cease and desist. I am no longer available for this conversation. Thank you. Period. No explanation needed. Why? Because I'm just not. Thank you. We're going to move on now. I am done with this portion of the program. We are done. Right? Yes. Does just dropping it mean you shove it down? No, it doesn't mean that you shove it down. And if there's stuff that you want to process through, but you can also decide that you're just not fucking into the sadness anymore. Like, I'm just not going to be sad anymore. And you can literally just decide to not be sad anymore. This was a part of my life. It served me well, and I'm no longer sad about it, and I'm done. And it literally can be that simple. Again, we're so ingrained. We have to process through, and we don't want to do this, and we don't like, really? Why? Do we have to be in therapy for 20 years before we can let something go? Why? Says who? Why can't you just decide that it served you, it's no longer serving you, and you're dropping it? Right? It served its purpose. You understand sadness. And thank you, and we're done with this portion of the program. Right? Yes. Emotions and thoughts are like Tinder. We decide whether we... Exactly. Yes. You get to decide. And again, this, like, I'm telling you, this belief of mine where I was like, wait, I don't have to spend, like, I don't have to, like, process through it. No, you can just decide that you are done feeling this way and move the fuck on. I was like, oh. And I had to, like, wrap my head, like, again, like you, like, isn't that unhealthy? Am I just spoiled? Like, no, it's just done. I'm just done. It's just done. And I'm just letting it go. I'm just done. Right? I'm just done. So the big takeaways are question everything. Everything. Why are you even carrying around the sadness? Again, what purpose does it serve? It's reinforcing something. It's reinforcing an identity. It's reinforcing a belief. It's reinforcing victim mentality. It's reinforcing something. Because you can still feel sad and move on. Right? You can still feel sad and move on. And so the big takeaways, right? the big takeaways are question everything. Ask yourself questions and journal your answers, and then question that. And then define what you want and understand that what it is that you want is accessible to you, and that your work, my work, is recalibrating or creating from scratch the belief and the identity that will allow me to access the how. It will allow me to access the path to deliberately creating what I want, because it's available, it exists. And there is a belief and identity that is holding me back from getting it. That's it. And so I have to question everything in order for me to uncover what my belief and identities are, so that I can shift them towards the ones that are going to allow me to actually create whatever it is that I want to create. Yeah. How do you decide you are done? How not to react to those triggers? What is your mantra? That's a good one. This is no longer for me. That's it. You can experience. Oh, no, trigger. Oh, no, this is no longer for me. Thank you very much. Let's move on. This is no longer for me. This is no longer for me. I have an ex-husband, so I'm plenty triggered. This is no longer for me. I don't have to react to this. I don't have to. You just don't have to. And like, I know that sounds so simplistic, but like, you actually just don't have to. You can acknowledge that you are triggered. I am triggered. This is activating me, and it's not for me, so I'm just going to let it go. I mean, it's true. Much less so now than 5 years ago, right? Exactly. Your triggers have nothing to do with today or the reality of your situation. Again, is the trigger true? Do you have to be triggered? Question it. Is this true? Is this person trying to hurt me? Is this person blah, 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 blah? Do I have to react this way? Who would I be without this? Right? Who would I be without this? So we are at 5. Time flies. Time flies. Listen, I'm still going to promote the call with us because this is what I do. And I believe with every fiber of my being that the vehicle by which you get what you want is your business. So if you haven't had a call yet with my team, go and book a call. Yvette will pop the link in the chat. Thank you for entertaining this with me. This was fabulous. Do the call. Go and book your call. At the very least, it will give you more clarity on the how. On the how. The business, the career is the vehicle. I believe that with every fiber of my being. It's the vehicle that you get what you want. So I hope this was great. I hope that it helped to wake you up and to shift a little bit about how you currently think and how you experience. No, if you're already in 10K, you don't need a call. Please just start to question, why am I reacting this way? Do I need to react this way? What if I didn't react this way? What other way would I react? If I didn't react this way, how else would I react? If I didn't react triggered, if I didn't, and sometimes we don't even know, like, right? Like, think about it. If you're so used to being triggered and anxious and overwhelmed and blah, 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 like, sometimes you don't even know how else you would react. Start questioning everything. If I wasn't triggered, what would I be? If I didn't react this way, how would I react? If I didn't feel overwhelmed, how would I feel? And that's deliberate creation. Because you get to have it all. You get to want what you want because you want it, and you get to have it all, but not if you're so just like moving forward, cult of average, normalcy, mediocrity, start questioning everything. Okay, that's it. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you all soon.